Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Christy, and we work with Globe International.
Working with missionaries, we hear stories of the struggles, the humor, God's goodness, and a little side of crazy.
Hey, that's who we are.
This is Crazy Missionary Stories.
A quick listener note before we get to the podcast. When we recorded this episode, we experienced a few technical difficulties, and we were recording while an event was happening in the building. Please bear with us. You may hear some background noise, but the stories Lauren tells about serving in Ukraine are too good not to share. Thank you and enjoy. So today we are interviewing Lauren, and she has been serving in Ukraine for almost 4 years. So Lauren, will you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in Ukraine?
Yes, so right now there is an active invasion in Ukraine. And when I came to the field, of course, there was COVID. So right now I'm serving in the south, and I am working in a church. And it's a church, me and my husband both, we serve together. He's working on base and also in the church with me. And we serve the youth, so that's our main role as youth leaders, and we just pretty much equip them to understand the Word of God, to study the Word of God, and then to take that out into the community, into the world. Wow. And it's been really, really cool because we serve refugee youth, we serve youth who've been in our community for a while, and my husband's also Ivan. He's also the worship leader at the church, so we're in worship ministry. And I'm a student of Ukrainian language, so that I can better serve and understand what's going on around me.
You're busy.
Yeah, very busy.
So your husband is in the military?
Yes.
A Ukrainian?
Yes, says he's in the Ukrainian army.
Wow.
As a Ukrainian citizen.
And then you're working with the youth.
We are.
In the middle of wartime.
It's been interesting.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah, and a lot of our youth, they have very difficult backgrounds. So it's just been really, really, tough for them, of course, to be, in a country that's under attack, and to also be dealing with just like difficult home situations on top of that. So really, this is a great time for us to teach about the hope that Christ gives us and our life with the Lord and in salvation. Yeah. So the tragedy does really give us that opportunity to share the gospel in a way that's even more real.
Do you find that people are responsive to it?
I think so. Yeah, I think you're a little bit more responsive, unfortunately, when you're closer to the fighting and the action, and you're hearing rockets and explosions, and all of that is happening around you. But when you're comfortable, it's easy to get kind of like, oh, well, I don't need this. Unfortunately, but overall, people are sad. I think the people of Ukraine are sad. And this is lasted for almost 2 years. In February, it'll be 2 years, this invasion, not the war, but the invasion. Yeah. So, it's just, they're tired and sad. And
So were you guys in Ukraine when the initial attack started?
My husband, at the time we were engaged, he was, and I was in Ukraine, but I was on the way out with my team at the time. So we were actually driving toward the border of Romania.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were bombing, and we were headed toward the border, and other Ukrainian individuals who were leaving their homes were trying to get out, trying to get away from this, this danger. Yeah, it was a very scary time, very scary, traumatic time.
So how long have you been married?
In August 27th was a year. So almost a year and a month.
So you got married during the middle of the war.
Yeah, we were engaged. Yeah, we got engaged 10 days before the invasion. Wow. We even set a date for August. No, we set a date for June. That did not happen. It was right after that, when the invasion happened, we were separated. He was all over the place, and it was really difficult to leave my friends back where I used to live, and just my church home there, and pastor. It was just terribly hard to just automatically be separated so suddenly. Yeah, but we worked it out. The Lord, I was able to come into Ukraine with my team, and we brought in humanitarian aid for churches and our friends, and each time I was able to meet with my husband, and we just kind of got together one day and prayed and just said, maybe maybe there is an opportunity for us to move forward. Maybe we don't have to let the war destroy our plans. And at that time, a lot of people, especially in the beginning, a lot of people were getting married in Ukraine. It's like we just don't know that we have tomorrow. We don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
We decided, we're not going to let this evil get in the way of something that, we felt the Lord was already leading us to. And He opened up the door for us to get married, and we got married on August 27th, 2022. And it was, the wedding for the church was very much a moment of joy. It was something that they were looking forward to. There was all of this grief, and then this event for them was like, we're celebrating something that's good and beautiful. And so it was an encouraging thing for the community. So
That's really
That's awesome.
for us, of course, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you feel the call to Ukraine?
That was 100% the Lord, and that came through, I was looking for internships for missions after, and I don't know if it's a very long story how I got into missions, but I guess I should start at the beginning. But I had a friend in college who was going through a study abroad program to China, and she was also a young Black woman, and she went to China. She came back and she told me all about this trip, and I was just like, "You're Black and you went to China?" And study abroad. And for me, it was really just like, how, this is not something that I hear of for, people in the Black community doing very often. So, and honestly, I really didn't think that was something that any of us did, but she did it, she attained it, and I would never think to ask my parents about it because it's so expensive. And basically, after she told me about it, I just started looking at scholarships and how could I possibly do this. And my program, they had it's an arts program, they had a study abroad in China, and I decided, well, if I'm going to take this class, might as well take it in China rather than in Atlanta. So the Lord basically worked it out for me to go, and I was able to go to China. And on that trip, I met with a missions group, and I saw that these were young people. I'm like, wow, these people are here, they're young, and they're serving the Lord. So that really inspired me, and I was like, I can't believe this is something that people my age are doing. So here I am as a Black woman in China, and then I'm meeting this young, missionary group, and it's like, I love the Lord. I really love learning about cultures, and this is everything together.
Yeah.
So as soon as I left that trip, I really started praying and looking into opportunities to serve. And as I taught as a teacher on my breaks, spring break or fall break, I was like, how can I, serve? Where can I go and learn about missions? Basically, I did a series of week-long missions trips that led me to, the Lord really was leading me in that, and it led me to searching for a longer-term internship during the summer, because I wasn't working during the summer as a teacher. So I decided to, I prayed about it, and I had 3 choices, and I was like, okay, there's an arts in Japan program that looks really interesting, and I'm an artist, so this should be what I do. But then I looked at another program in Belgium, and then there was one in Ukraine. And basically the description for the one in Ukraine was about learning about missions and service. And I just decided, I really like this description. I don't know much about Ukraine. I think it's a place that's really cold and has a lot of snow. And but I said, okay, but you know what? I'll try. This is just for a summer. So basically that internship, it started off as, just a simple, just interested to know more about missions. Well, this is here in Ukraine. And God got me to Ukraine. And really, once I got there, before that, I was really seeking and searching and praying and where could I possibly serve? My friend here, she knows she wants to go to Germany. This friend knows she wants to go to Ethiopia. But I just didn't know. I'd gone to Germany myself. I'd gone to France and just trying to get into Ethiopia. And the Lord just did not, I didn't feel a connection or anything to some of these places. And when I got to Ukraine and I served, and I was able to see what the missionaries did there with the youth and teaching the Bible through English, it was after a camp that we did that I was sitting on a bus home, and the Lord just really made it so clear. It was such I can't explain really that experience with the Lord, but He made it so clear that these are the people, this is the country, this is the language. And it just was it startled me. It made me feel like I wanted to get up and go right then. It felt like the Lord was pushing me to Ukraine. And then I woke up another day and it was the same thing. I just popped up and it was the same thing. And I was like,
At that point, you were in the Ukraine, or were you back here in the States?
I was in Ukraine.
You were in the Ukraine.
So when I got back to the States, I decided, okay, I'm going to sign up for a short-term service for 2 years. And I told my family, and they were okay. My parents said okay. My sister was not very happy about it. They were a little bit in shock, but they're coming along. So I said it's just for 2 years. I'm just gonna go and serve. But I do feel like the Lord, if I do not follow this call, I am being disobedient to the Lord, and that is not something that I want to do. So I signed up. Of course, I prayed the whole way, and the Lord got me to Ukraine. He led me directly to Odessa, and that's where I was serving at one point. And it just, I had a really awesome team, and it was really such a blessing to be able to serve there. COVID happened, and I served with youth ministry a little bit. I served with single women's ministry, and I also served with English ministry. So also while learning Russian at the time.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
So English ministry is teaching English as a second language.
So it was kind of like teaching. What we had was more like a conversational club.
Okay. Nice.
So it wasn't necessarily like an ESL kind of thing, but we did conversational club. Nice. And that was really, really a cool way to introduce the Bible, to others. Yeah. So that's what we did there, and it was a really huge blessing. And along the way, I learned about my husband, and it was from a teammate who told me about him, and for about a year, and I kind of denied that. I don't need to learn, meet anyone right now. And but long story short, we ended up meeting, and then we started kind of talking, and here we are today. So, yeah.
What is something that you wish you would have known before going to the mission field that you can share with somebody that maybe is considering going?
Definitely, maybe taking care of yourself and really making sure to have a Sabbath is really important.
That's good.
Yeah, because it's easy to get caught up in the busyness, and being able to just say taking a day and this day is off limits. This is my Sabbath day, and usually Sundays are not always that, especially for ministry workers. It's like they're working on Sundays. But I had another missionary who also worked in Ukraine for a little while. She told me about the Sabbath, and just defend your Sabbath time.
That's great,
because it's so important, or else you'll burn out. So that was something that I appreciated. She told me, and it's hard to keep it. Still, it's like I want to keep doing, but you just can't. So
yeah, that's great advice.
Do you have a way, just thinking about where you are, and just as I've heard you share during the week this week in the different conversations, hearing things like, there's a bomb that came here, and even to have that in your sentence, and then, but these are things that you have to think about. I imagine that when you talk about Sabbath, it's important just on an average week, right?
Yes.
In the United States or in other countries that are not at war. Yeah. And we're talking about trauma here. What are some ways that you have found to be able to take that Sabbath in the midst of this and truly rest and be refreshed?
I haven't done the best with this, but
I'm sure it's hard.
Yeah, because I've had an increased amount of work lately, and it's easy to just start work and then to just work the whole day. Yeah, I just got to the point where I said, okay, I need to cut it off. I need to have a cutoff. So 6, no more, just cut off. Even if there are things you have to do, it's you have to be able to function, at all. So it's just cutting that off, and then I realized also that I'm having a hard time. This is very hard, not just because of the war and because of hearing sirens or hearing, explosions, but because I'm a foreigner. I'm a foreigner in a new town, and I'm learning this language, and I'm having to function in this. That's very hard to do, and I think that's something you don't realize when you're applying to be going to missions. And it's like everything takes much longer. Everything takes, your energy is drained much quicker because you're not operating in your heart language most of the time. It's another one, so all of that stuff wears on you on top of now there's a war, there's an invasion. So I realized for myself that I need to have more counselors. So instead of having the one, it's like, okay, I should add another one, maybe 3, and meet with them regularly, because otherwise I don't know, how, and then just keeping that connection with the Lord. I don't know how I would do it if it wasn't for God and for, Christian counselors and helpers and, friends, family who supports you. So, and stay in contact with your supporters. That's another thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
For sure.
Not because they're your family and they care about you, and you don't want to forget about them. They're helping you serve.
And they're praying as well.
And tell them specific things to pray about, because I mean, they're supporting you. They want to know what you need.
Exactly. And that's something that I need to do better myself with. And, of course, when the invasion, started, it was like I was off my newsletter and everything game. And, but it was, that was a shocking thing that happened. And I had to refocus and regroup.
You were talking about being in school and studying. What's your degree?
So I was an art major. So I was a studio art major, and with a concentration in graphic design. And then I moved to teaching. So art. I taught art in elementary and middle school.
Wow.
Yeah, middle school is my favorite. Those are my people. Yeah.
Wow. You just really jumped the ladder for respect for me, because that's a tough age.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah, that's a really tough age.
Turns out those are my spirit animals, I guess. Those are my people. Yeah.
That is really cool. I love the little ones.
See, the little ones sent me out. I was like, okay, you know what? You guys are wonderful, but I'm not the one who is blessed with the skills for you. So middle schoolers,
you have your set of skills.
Yes, I have my skills. So that's where I'm like, I have mad respect for you.
That's funny. That's awesome. Well, I'm curious, hearing your testimony about how you got into missions. It touches on a topic that I have a lot of curiosity about. So I wanna if we can go there for just a little bit. I'd love to hear. So you were on your study abroad, and you said that you saw another single African American girl, or this was a friend of yours.
So this is a friend of mine who went. Yeah, actually, in our group, we had it was a pretty large group, I think, of Black American people there with us, and in China that was a shocking thing. So we had people. If you go to China and you really stand out, in a lot of different ways, you draw a lot of attention, and to the point where people are touching you, touching your hair, taking pictures. That happened in China for sure, all the time. At one point, people think you're a celebrity, a popular celebrity in the States, and it's like, no, I'm just
you can play that. I'm sure.
Yeah, I was Beyonce, guys. So I was. So somebody else was Kobe Bryant. It's like,
oh goodness.
So. In China, I'm Beyonce, but no.
Great.
But in Ukraine, it's not quite as shocking. But I've had some interesting experiences, being a Black person there. Just you're a foreigner, and people are curious.
It's a whole new thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I mean, in some ways, you can use that to really draw people, and people are curious as to why you're there, or curious about your life, and you can. Have interesting conversations.
It's a door opener.
It is a door opener. It really is. So me and my husband are definitely door openers. People are very much, like, what is going on here? Like this Ukrainian and this, Black American person together. And we're trying to figure it out. And then we're speaking Ukrainian. And we've had people, like, their jaws dropped. Seeing us interact. Yeah, their jaws dropped. So they're just a lady in the market who's like, I just have to ask you, are you all married? And it's like, yes. Wow, and you're speaking all of these languages, so it's just interesting. It's a way that you can draw people and say, share the gospel, talk about to witness, So it's like God gave us kind of interesting opportunity through that, even.
Yeah. You were saying that you had never really thought of missions or had missionaries come in front of you growing up. What was that like, or what can you speak to that? I guess maybe my question should be, how can we encourage the church to be able to send missionaries and get involved in missions in a greater way?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was just seeing it. Like seeing young people serving the Lord was encouraging and inspiring to me. Seeing my friend, who is another, Black American woman, go abroad and actually like doing it that was like, wow, she did it, so maybe I can do it. And I've seen other young Black women who've seen me, and they're like, I also really wanted to go. So I just think it's the representation of seeing, not just Black Americans, Latino Americans, like just more representation of everyone going, because the call is to everyone.
Exactly.
It's important to see that you can go. I think people just don't know sometimes that it's possible or how.
Yeah, or how. That's probably a big point.
It's definitely how. Yeah.
So you found the how through college, through your study abroad, and then seeing when you were over there is when you saw young missionaries on the field.
Yeah, really, and just knowing that there are scholarships too. You can, because in some Black churches you're not seeing missionaries as much, so it's just it's something that you do have to kind of search. Like, okay, this is not, we're not out there. Like we are out there, but we're not. If we don't see as many. So you do have to look for, they do have opportunities because of that. So
well, the title of our podcast,
whatever this is,
the podcast is Crazy Missionary Stories.
My whole life. My whole
someone actually asked me, is that referring to crazy missionaries or the crazy stories? And my answer was yes.
Both.
So because you got to be a little bit crazy to get out and do some of this stuff, right?
Living in a war zone voluntarily. Yeah.
So I imagine you have a bazillion crazy missionary stories you could share with us.
I do. And a lot of it, is around just being like a foreign Black woman in Ukraine. And, where I used to live, I was chased a little bit. Like I have been chased and followed. Touched, grabbed.
When you say chased, do you mean like someone
was running? At one point I was running and I was like,
oh no.
Help. It's happened, and it was very shocking to have that happen. And some people are curious and they stare, but when it's like people like grab, touch you, so my craziest story, it's funny, it always happened in the same store. It was like this one store I would go to, and I don't know why.
Do you still go back to that store, or you just changed?
At one point I was like, I had my husband like, you need to go with me to the store. And watch from afar and see what happens. But it never failed. Every single time I was approached by somebody in the store. And one time in specific, there was this elderly man, and I just thought the man was asking for help. But he came up to me and he asked if we can be acquainted, and I was like, excuse me? He was asking if we could be acquainted, and he proceeds to grab my neck, tries to kiss me, and I just was like, just kind of jumped back and was like, no, absolutely not. And we're in a grocery store. People are walking around. I'm just like, this guy was kind of pushing a cart, like, it's just like, I'm being attacked in the store is what's going on. People, help me.
Yeah.
So, that was the craziest.
Nobody stepped up to
no one stepped up to the plate. Just kind of said, "Oh, this is crazy people in here. We're just gonna keep it moving." So,
oh my goodness,
wow.
No, that was definitely like very shocking. And I had another guy in that same store who said, "Are you African?" Excuse me? No, because I know you are not. I know you are not an African American here in Ukraine. Those just don't exist. You have to be African. I'm like, well, today's our lucky day. I'm a Black American person in Ukraine. It's just like, and this guy was from the States, so it's just.
Oh, he's from the States?
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
So, this is all surrounded around just being, so that's something to watch out for. My new community now where I live, the most I get is just the stares and, why are you here kind of thing. But, in my previous city, people were just very bold and would touch. Wow. So it's a thing of being safe, Yeah. At some point I had to just have, at night, make sure you have someone walk with you and watch your surroundings and that kind of thing. So that's something that also, when you're a foreign person, especially if you stand out, no matter, which way it is, you can stand out anywhere and people will touch you, and you just have to be careful. So,
Wow.
That's true. That's good. That's a nugget there. A piece of wisdom.
Really be careful and wise.
Sometimes we don't think about that. We're just in what we're in. You have to learn a new culture. You have to learn the language. Everything is new, and so you're focused on that and not on the fact that, hey, I look different than everybody else around me. And
it was a point of worry for my mom, actually. She was just like, she would talk to my team and said, well, is it safe? And they'd say, oh yeah, it's safe. Our daughters go out all the time and they're fine. She was like, but for my daughter, I don't know, and sure enough, it was a different story for me. So it's just some people just don't know how to act, It's like they're curious and they're like, must touch this interesting thing. So yeah, it's a part of the crazy journey of being a foreigner and in a land that's not your own.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. So you're joining Globe, which we're thrilled that you're here.
I am too.
Wonderful to see you face to face, to be in the same room with you.
It's awesome.
How, as an agency, and beyond an agency, as your community, as your family, how can we best serve you in the Ukraine? I mean, this is part of what we want to do, is to help our missionaries do what they do well. And as you've heard throughout the week, member cares is really important to us, and making sure that you're not just surviving, but that you're thriving.
Absolutely.
And in the circumstance that you're living in right now, it's kind of about survival.
It's definitely that. Yeah.
So how can we really, as a community, how can we help you do your job well? And
I feel like already you all have done that just by showing so much love and support. And for me and for my husband, just like so there's just been such an outpouring of love and support that we feel. And that I feel, and I feel like, like you say, you're not going alone. I do feel that sense of, even though it does feel a little bit more difficult because I'm in Ukraine, it's not recommended that you, come in to Ukraine. I do feel a sense of, I have options, I have people who are in Ireland who I can, visit, and, there might be an opportunity to meet. I think that would be helpful, to have a chance to meet maybe in Romania or
exactly.
It's been helpful to have like member care, individuals message me and check on me and check on us and see how we're doing. So those kind of things, I think, checking in, because it's easy to get so caught up in what we're doing that it's like, and someone asks you, are you okay? And it's like, I have to think about that. Actually, not really. I'm kind of sinking emotionally. So it's been really great to have people, check in. And I think if that continues, and definitely having a visit, hopefully one day can be in Ukraine when this, whenever this ends. But for now, I think, just knowing that people are there, they're checking in, then it makes me feel, that support, and I don't feel as alone, so, and we appreciate the prayers, of course. So,
definitely.
Yeah, those are keeping us standing and going. So I feel like I hit the jackpot with coming to Globe, and I'm so excited about this journey, and so
we're
excited
excited.
about people here.
Yeah. We feel blessed to be able to be a part of what you're doing. Can I ask you how can you share with us, how did you find Globe?
I actually, it's through other Globe missionaries who also serve in Ukraine, from the Pericotes, Madison and Europe. They are just awesome. And Madison was a part of a prayer group that we held in my apartment every week. And it was, a bunch of different missionary women from, different organizations. And we just met, and we prayed, and we shared, and we vented, and laughed and cried, and just ate. And she told me about Globe, and I learned about it, and I think, honestly, I knew like she was another American, American Ukrainian man, and they were serving together. And I thought, how does that work, when you have someone who's, American and somebody who's, Ukrainian, and it's, how do you come together in one organization? And I noticed like she's doing that. And she just told me about Globe, and when I was transitioning, I thought about it, and I asked her, tell me a little bit about Globe, and she told me, and Globe is really like my top choice amongst the many organizations that I was, researching.
What made that one of the top choices?
Honestly, the fact that the care and the fact that you all are like a family, and that was...
Did it seem to hold true up to now?
It's like beyond true.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just like thanking the Lord. I found the Globe family, so I'm very much thankful and blessed. It's better than what I expected.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Better than what I expected.
Yeah. I was a little bit skeptical at first, maybe just because I just, trust issues and just not knowing,
sure,
this is another scary thing and everything has been scary and uncertain. And I feel like there's nothing wrong here with this organization at all. It's just, why do I feel this, anxiety? But I'm so glad that I jumped and made that, we made that leap of faith. And I've seen this week that this was 100% the right decision. Yeah.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're all thrilled. And it's been a great week to be able to get to know you more.
Yeah.
And your first question, one of your first questions to me was, do you remember what it was?
I do not. I'm not remembering anything today.
It was, I feel like it was, so we're serving in the Ukraine.
Yes. Now I remember.
And are you going to make us, if we were to join Globe, would we have to leave?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
So to me, it sounds like it was quite traumatic to you.
Oh yeah.
That you were being asked to leave the country that you're serving in.
Yeah.
And
it was.
I'm going to just venture out to say has become home to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That was probably our first question. It's like, this is 100% the first thing because we're family, we're family and you are here and I'm, I have been called to serve here and where we're serving now is okay. There's a church here where refugees are coming from, internally displaced Ukrainians are coming to this city because their city is not safe. They're living in the church. There's need, one of the youth leaders has been sent to the front line. It's like there is help that's needed. Ministers and leaders are needed in this church. And I have the opportunity to be here and I'm your wife, and it's like, we are family and we're going to stick together in this, no matter what it looks like. So obviously we will talk about, if things get so bad, if we have to make a decision, but at this point, the separation from family is not, an option. And we, feel that it's fine to still be there and minister there. So and it was really huge to find an organization, who would walk alongside of us in that, because there are people who are there, and there are people who don't have the option to leave. They just have to, may the Lord protect us and serve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. That's where we're praying.
Yeah. So I think for my Ukrainian friends and community, it's encouraging to see me be there, as a foreigner, because people are just like, why are you here?
Yeah, everyone was fleeing and you were going in, actually.
Yeah, and then coming back, and it's like I see Ukrainian people leaving to go, out, and I'm coming in, and I'm like, am I crazy? Yes, I am. So now it's like collectively the Ukrainian people are like, you're one of us. So it's just like, because you're here and so.
If it's okay, I'd like to ask a question on this side of things. Like, as you were getting married, I mean, you had to say goodbye to your family.
Yeah.
To then be married, and now you have your husband as your family as well. I mean, but it doesn't make your family here. It doesn't make your parents and your sister less family. It's just it's different. I mean, obviously this is your husband, but that had to be a really difficult thing. I know what it's like to leave for the field and you have to say goodbye. That's tough already. But you had to say goodbye knowing that you were going into a place that is really difficult right now, and you could lose your life.
Absolutely.
And what did that process look like for you?
Just sitting down, family, I have something to share with you. I think at this point, I've had a few conversations with them about the Lord has been working in their hearts on this journey, as He's been working on mine. Yeah. And they've had to sacrifice a lot through this journey.
Absolutely.
It's like we focus a lot on the missionaries, but the families are also sacrificing a lot.
Exactly.
So I think along the way, it's like I've been honest and open with them, and this is happening. This is where I feel the Lord is leading me. And before I met my husband, the Lord was leading me to longer service, and I did sit my parents down and say, I believe that the Lord is leading me to longer service here in Ukraine. And they were just like, we're not surprised you said that,
Wow.
So they weren't surprised. And then he came later, and it was like, okay, it might be a little longer. So for them, it's been hard. And of course, now with the invasion, I think what's been easy for them is knowing, like, that I'm okay today. There's been this record of, like, God's hand has been on me. And for them, it's like, okay, she's still okay. She's still okay, We're able to message with her. We can see, she's online on Facebook or whatever, So I think that communication. And first, I was in Romania with my team, and that made them feel fine because they're like, "Oh, she's in a different country. She's safe."
Yeah.
And coming back was like, okay, they weren't thrilled, but they gave that to the Lord, and it's hard for them in ways I'm sure they don't tell me, but. But they've been very brave for me, for my sake, and I'm really thankful for them. I'm really proud of them for trusting the Lord.
Yeah, it brings up a whole new topic. Like for me, you're right. The families give up a lot when their daughter or their sister goes to the mission field. Their aunt.
Yeah, it's like they all give that up. And I give up that. I do. I mourn that, not having my family. So being here right now, it's like my heart is just like, I need my family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need my parents, It's just like, so I'm just drinking all of that in. It's like having this time, because when I go back,
they won't be
they're
there.
not there. And there's a level of loneliness that's there because you feel so lonely, in a place that's not your country.
Yeah.
And especially in a time of war where you're like, will my Ukrainian family even be alive? They're all in the army. It's like, will they make it? So it's a very difficult and lonely thing. And you really, again, have to really rely on the Lord and that care, and the Lord is that great community for that.
I'm sure you may not feel strong, but from where we're sitting, my instant reaction would be say, wow, Lauren, you're a strong woman, and you must come from a family that has been fully dedicated to the Lord, who, like, I don't know your parents. I've never met them. I've never even seen a picture of them. I've never had a conversation with them. Yeah. But, like, I just feel like, man, like, honoring your parents, you know what I'm saying? Like, they have trusted the Lord with your life. To say, not just when my daughter go in missions, but my daughter is going to the Ukraine in this day and age to serve the Lord there, and we will bless her in that. Like, wow, those are amazing parents, and so it just makes me curious. Like, did you grow up knowing the Lord? Did you grow up in a Christian home?
I did.
Your background must be really strong.
My parents, my parents, they really raised us up in the Lord, and I had praying grandmothers. So I woke up thinking about those grandmothers today, just like how they prayed, and I really feel like a lot of what their prayers have carried, like, our family. And so I definitely attribute a lot of that to them, and my parents, of course. They're the way that they raised us, and really to value the Lord and to obey the Lord. So when it was time to obey the Lord in this, it was like, well, we don't know about this. Let's pump the brakes here. Pump the brakes. But they came to okay, yes, this is what we obey the Lord and what He's calling us to do. So they are the reason that I followed that call. My mom is the reason I followed my husband, because she always said, you stay with your husband. And when I had that conversation with her, I was like, didn't you say that? You stayed with him? Well, at the time, it's like, well, not into a war zone. Well, let's just, I feel that this is what, the Lord is calling me to.
Yeah.
And, it's been great for him. It's been great for me, that support. It's like,
that's powerful. Just thinking about the generations of serving the Lord. You talk about your grandmas, two grandmas.
Yeah.
Specifically,
prayer warriors.
Prayer warriors. And they've been the support.
Yeah.
Kind of just the seed.
Absolutely.
And to look back and to see how that has grown into the fruit
in your life, and you're serving the Lord in missions today.
Yes. I'm living off the strength of my grandma's prayers.
You actually mentioned, as we were talking today just a bit, that your grandma would call you in like tough moments as you were praying as well.
Yeah.
And
It's just,
like,
it was
just
crazy, to just be praying on my face, praying about something, and she would call, and, are you okay? And, just like, you were on my mind, and I was praying for you, and it's like, that is amazing, that you called me in this very moment, that I'm like crying and praying to the Lord, So they are, they were, really something. So, and now they're with the Lord. So, now I have a Ukrainian grandma who cares for me as well. And
it's really incredible. God is good. Oh, and I just want to say it is an honor to not just meet you, but to hear your story and to hear the testimony of your family. I think today it's very rare actually. We both grew up in Christian homes, and I can say that, and I don't know how far back it goes in my family line, but I can say that, like, I know too that for my parents it was they allowed me to go. They blessed me in my going to serve and just serving the Lord. And you serve not overseas, but you serve on a regular basis, and that's a gem.
It really is.
It's the gift that our parents and grandparents give in walking with the Lord in such a way that it makes you desire to give your life to God in this time when there are so many broken homes.
There are.
And people are just struggling to survive, and maybe they come to know the Lord, but it's maybe the first generation of believers.
Absolutely.
And so I just want to honor you and what you're doing, and not just you, but your family.
They've been great.
That's really neat to think of them today and what God has done in your family, and that really you've been sent out. Thank you for being a part of our family and letting us be a part of your journey as well now. And I look forward to it in the years to come. I say the years to come, because I hope that this is, for all of us, a long journey together.
That's what I prayed as well.
To be able to kind of come back around and see, hey, Lauren, where are you guys today? What's going on? And give us an update, and even have your husband one day sit down with us as well and be here face to face.
Definitely a prayer.
Thank you for sharing with us a bit of your journey.
Thank you all for having me. It's been really awesome.